From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Kyle Fredrickson. Kyle, spring ball about over for the Cowboys. Spring game on Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. at Boone Pickens Stadium. And some eyes will definitely be on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of returners that people know about, but a couple new guys that you might want to keep an eye on have a Louisiana connection. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, OSU fans at this point know about the Rudolph to Washington connection. You know, a kid from South Carolina, a kid from rural Texas, kind of teaming up is the next big thing at OSU. Well, what we're going to see, I think, in this spring game is shades of what might come, and it's sort of this pipeline that we've examined over the past months and years. OSU's ability to get these guys from Louisiana to come in really is going to kind of prove fruitful, I think, this time around on offense, more than it really ever has before, with Keandre Woodtee in a position to battle for that number 2 quarterback job behind Rudolph. And then a guy like Tyron Johnson, who really is on a team full of guys who could probably be number 1 receivers across the Big 12 at a lot of schools, but is a guy who's an LSU transfer who sat out last season, who really could make a huge difference this year as a guy who could play on the inside or the outside, in addition to some of those big-time threats OSU has.
Well, Tyron Johnson's a guy that's going to be part of this offense this next year. Woodtee, maybe not so much, but let's talk about Johnson for a second. I mean, I think everybody assumes Washington is the guy, but how good is Johnson?
Yeah, it's really hard to say because you're talking about a group that has a lot of stars, you know, guys like Washington and Aitman who, you know, feel like they can be number 1 receivers, in addition to a guy like Tyron Johnson, who's a little bit smaller than Aitman, obviously, but has the same kind of physical running after the catch style. Very strong with the ball, very fast upfield. So I saw some comparisons even to Sterling Shepard and what he did at OU as kind of that really physical slot guy who's also just a physical freak who can also go down for the deep ball. So it's spring, so I think OSU is a little bit, you know, cautious to really get the hype train rolling on this guy. But considering what we've seen in practice so far, you know, they'd be crazy not to find a role for him on the field, despite how much depth there is at that position.
Keandre Woodtee may be excited to throw to him, but I think Mason Rudolph is as well. But let's talk about Woodtee for a second, because that backup quarterback spot is open. I think a lot of people will be watching that on Saturday. What are you seeing? What are you hearing about who will be that number 2 behind Mason Rudolph?
Well, I think the safe choice is Taylor Cornelius right now, just based on the fact that he's a junior, another guy with elite size, 6'6", set a whole bunch of passing records in small-time Texas football. You know, not unsimilar to that James Washington mold where OSU has found success with those guys. Has played sparingly, kind of in mop-up duty in the first couple years of his career. So I think he's a safe choice number 2. If Mason Rudolph is out for a game or out for a quarter, I think he's a guy that you think, okay, this guy can carry the ship until we get Mason back. Now, if Mason's done for the year, I think then you look at a guy like Keandre Woodtee, who has the upside that's even better or higher than Taylor Cornelius per se, to kind of work him into the next kind of leader of this team, just based on everything he's done so far, just the athleticism, how smooth he's looked in practice, a guy who can really make plays outside the pocket and doesn't look very flustered. You know, with OSU's offensive line issues over the past few years, having that mobility I think is key in this offense. You know, and obviously needs a little bit more polish, but that redshirt year I think will be big for him. And when you're able to watch him, you know, like I kind of mentioned, the fluidity is what's impressive about him. Just never getting shaken under pressure. His ability to run, I think, could do some big things for this group.
All right, lots that will be known about the Cowboys as they head into the spring game, but clearly lots for people to watch, lots of fun on Saturday afternoon. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.